Communities across the United States grow and develop thanks to a little-known policy tool called the zoning code. The zoning code influences everything from building heights to signage. Understanding zoning is key to understanding how development happens in Albemarle County.
In this video, we're going to start by explaining the basics of zoning, describe a new type of zoning called form-based code, and share why we're considering it for the Rio29 area of our community.
Most cities and counties have laws about what you can build and where. What a property owner can build depends on where or in what zone their property is in. Zoning originated from localities seeking to use their police powers or their ability to regulate and enforce order for the health, safety, and welfare of its residents. Some of the first codes, like New York City's 1916 code, sought to regulate development for aims like ensuring that light could reach city streets and establish building heights and stepbacks that ultimately created the city's iconic wedding cake-style skyscrapers. During the 1920s, zoning started to spread across the U.S. with the Standard State Zoning Enabling Act and the 1926 Supreme Court decision in Euclid v. Ambler, where the town of Euclid, Ohio set up zoning to separate unlike uses. Single-use, or Euclidean zoning, became the dominant type of zoning throughout the U.S. While Euclid wanted to prevent industrial uses from encroaching on residential areas, these codes eventually grew to support auto-centric and suburban development patterns, limiting housing and transportation options. Planners and policymakers have found that single-use zoning regulations make the walkable, vibrant places we love difficult to build today. As a primarily rural area, Albemarle County didn't adopt zoning until 1969, at a time when suburban Charlottesville was starting to grow. Charlottesville's growth drove development in the county's rural areas, stoking fears of annexation. The current code and zoning map were adopted in 1980, which set an expectation for continued and directed growth in our development areas, and prioritized rural area and watershed protection. Yet in many ways, this code never planned for an urban, rather than suburban, Albemarle County. Today's zoning code consists of two basic parts, the map and the regulations. So let's start with the map. There are 25 zoning districts in Albemarle County, and assigned to each parcel are a district that has its own set of rules regarding use and intensity. The largest categories include rural, residential, commercial, planned districts, and industrial. The county's zoning map not only separates properties by use, but also by intensity of uses. For example, in the R1, R6, and R15 residential zones, the increasing number indicates the approximate number of units allowed per acre, and thus the higher number indicates an increasing level of residential density. In addition, you'll often see overlay zones, which add additional restrictions and regulations within them. Some examples include the entrance corridors and the steep slopes overlay districts. Now, moving to the regulations themselves, the zoning code contains sections for each district or color on the map. The zoning code lists all the permitted uses for each district, such as clothing, apparel, and shoe shops, as well as retail nurseries and greenhouses. Some uses are classified as special uses, which aren't allowed outright, but require approval from the Board of Supervisors on a case-by-case basis.
That's a really quick overview of the zoning code. It works to ensure that development happens in a reasonable, predictable manner and minimizes impact to adjacent property owners. Yet civic leaders, planners, and community members across the United States are beginning to recognize the challenges and limitations of single-use zoning.
Form-based code is an alternative type of zoning that moves away from the segregation paradigm by prioritizing the size and shape of buildings over the use. It works to use land more efficiently by promoting a variety of development types within the same area, from storefronts to housing to public green spaces and plazas. The main purpose of form-based code is to proactively regulate the physical form and character of new development to help the community realize its vision for an area, rather than reacting to each new development proposal on a case-by-case basis or not at all.
When we say form, we're really talking about the physical characteristics of a place. This type of zoning code may include regulations on building height, mass, setback or build to lines, and building orientation. These regulations emphasize the qualities that affect site design and how our community experiences a space. While use is still regulated, form-based code acknowledges that compatible uses change over time.
So why are we talking about form-based code now? Right now, Rio29 is a place designed for cars, not people. However, we have heard from the community that their vision is to see this area become a vibrant and diverse, mixed-use community with interesting character and a human-scaled environment. About 39% of Rio29's land area is dedicated to surface parking lots that are rarely more than halfway full. It's home to few sidewalks and even fewer bike lanes. but it's also home to one of the county's busiest bus stops, and it is strategically located within easy access to major employment centers such as downtown Charlottesville, the University of Virginia, and the Route 29 corridor. When urban land is our community's most valuable asset, there are opportunities for underutilized spaces to provide what's known as infill development, filling in these spaces with active uses such as housing, office, and commercial that create vibrant streets and provide new places for our community to live and work.
From 2016 to 2018, Albemarle County staff worked collaboratively with community members and stakeholders to develop the Rio29 Small Area Plan, which is a detailed plan for the area's future development and investment with specific transportation, land use, and urban design recommendations. This plan was adopted by the Board of Supervisors in December 2018 and works to achieve the vision of Rio29 as a multimodal hub with connected streets, a vibrant mixed-use community with interesting character, and a place enhanced through conservation. The Rio29 Small Area Plan's recommendations include update the zoning ordinance to allow for the desired form and mix of uses, pursue form-based code as a mechanism to promote the desired form, find the appropriate balance between regulation and flexibility, regulation to achieve the desired form, and flexibility to accommodate market changes and a mixture of uses.
So where are we now, and what can you do? We're only just beginning the hard work of creating a form-based code for Rio29. We need your help as we begin to draft this code to ensure that it achieves our community's vision. First, please share this video with your neighbors so that everyone in our community can learn about zoning and form-based code. There are several upcoming opportunities to get involved. Later this summer, we'll be hosting form-based code and Albemarle events to learn from you what we should regulate and prioritize in a draft form-based code. You can also attend your local Community Advisory Committee meetings, or CACs, to keep up to date on the form-based code process and more. Finally, you can always stay in touch via Albemarle County's email list or AMail, as well as Facebook and Twitter.